Why do some organizations have clear strategies, smart people, regular meetings, and still fail to execute? Not occasionally, but consistently. Not occasionally, but consistently. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Execution doesn't break down in one place. It breaks down in layers. And if you don't know where those layers are, you keep fixing the wrong problem. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 exact levels where execution quietly falls apart. Why most leaders only see one of them, and how to fix all 3 without adding more meetings, more tools, or even people. And I will warn you now, once you see this, you won't be able to unsee it. Once you see this, you won't be able to unsee it. Most organizations think the execution problem is obvious. They say things like, people aren't accountable. Communication is poor. We just need more systems. But those are symptoms, not the root cause. The symptoms, not the root cause. It's like trying to fix a slow computer by clicking harder. Clicking harder. You are interacting with the surface, not addressing what is beneath. Execution breakdown is structural, and structure operates in levels. Let me show you the first level. The one most leaders think they've already solved. The one where most leaders think they have already solved. This is where execution appears to begin. Strategy. Now here is the trap. Most organizations believe they are aligned strategically because they have defined the following: a vision, goals, strategic priorities. But here is the real test. If I ask 5 leaders your top 3 priorities, do I get the same answer? Or I get 5 versions of the truth? Do I get the same answer, or do I get 5 versions of the truth? Strategic breakdown doesn't happen because there is no strategy. It happens because the strategy is interpreted differently. I worked with a team that had a clear strategic pillar. Crystal clear. Customer experience excellence. That sounds solid. Quite solid, but internally, one team focused on response time, another focused on productivity quality, another focused on customer empathy training. All valid, all misaligned, and the result? Fragmented execution. It's like assembling a team for a mission, but everyone read a different version of the script. Same movie, different plot lines. Don't just define strategy. Standardize interpretation. Ask, does this actually mean this in practice? Ask them, what does this actually mean in practice? What gets deprioritized because of this? Because clarity isn't what is written, it is what is understood the same way. But even if you fix this, execution can still fail. Because strategy is only the first layer. Strategy is only the first layer. This is where most organizations quietly struggle. Decision making. You can have a clear strategy, but if decisions don't align with it, execution collapses. What this looks like is slow approvals, conflicting decisions across teams, endless revisiting of the same issues. Sounds familiar? I'm sure it does. Execution speed is equal to decision speed. Execution speed is equal to decision speed. But more importantly, execution consistency is equals decision consistency. I once observed a leadership team debating a single decision. 3 weeks. Not because it was complex, but because everyone was using a different decision lens. One prioritized cost, another gave priority to speed, another gave priority to risk. So every discussion restarted from zero. Think of a football team where one player thinks the goal is defense. Another player thinks it is offense. Another is playing completely a different game. You don't have a team. You have chaos. You don't have a team. What you have is total chaos. Don't just make decisions. Align decision logic. Define what criteria matters most, what trade-offs are acceptable, who decides, and how. Who decides and how? Because when decision making is aligned, execution accelerates naturally. Yes, when decision making is aligned, execution accelerates naturally. Here is the final level. And this is where even the high performing organizations fail. The final level of our layers. This is where work actually gets done, or it doesn't. The work gets done, or it doesn't. Most leaders think execution breakdown here is about discipline, performance, accountability, but that's not the root issue. The real issue is misaligned definitions of done. Misaligned definitions of done. Ask 3 teams what completed means. One says, we delivered the draft. Another says it has been reviewed. Another says it's fully implemented and working. Same word, different finish lines. Yes, same word, different finish lines. If done is unclear, accountability becomes impossible because people believe they have delivered even when others think they haven't. Yes, people believe they have delivered when others think they haven't. I worked with an organization where projects were completed on paper but required weeks of rework afterward. Why? Because each team had its own definition of completion. Each team had a different definition of completion. So don't just assign tasks. Standardize completion criteria. Define what does done look like exactly. What quality standard is required? What must be true for this to be considered complete? Because execution doesn't fail at effort, it fails at interpretation. Execution doesn't fail at effort, it fails at interpretation. So let's bring this together. Execution breaks down at 3 levels. Number 1, strategy. This is where we have different interpretations of what matters. Number 2, decisions. Different logic behind choices. Number 3, execution. Different definitions of completion. And here is the key. Most organizations only try to fix level 3. They push for more accountability, more tracking, more pressure, but ignore the levels above it. They ignore the levels above it, above level 3. It's like trying to fix a leaking roof by mopping the floor over and over again, instead of fixing where the leak actually starts. Instead of fixing where the leak actually starts. If you want to eliminate execution breakdown, you don't need more effort. You don't need more effort. You need alignment across all 3 levels. Because execution isn't about working harder. It's about thinking the same way at the right moments. It's about thinking the same way at the right moments, not working harder. If this changed how you think about execution, then the next video you should watch is what cognitive alignment actually means in organizations, because that is the foundation behind everything we discussed today. And if you are serious about closing the execution gaps in your organization, subscribe, because that is what we do here. Subscribe because that is what we do here. Execution doesn't fail randomly. It fails predictably at these 3 levels. Fix those and everything changes.